Boxing King Media, powered by BYD. Mr. Gareth A. Davis. It's 26 degrees outside. What's the temperature inside Gareth's house?
23.
All right.
I need to get. I've got underfloor heating here. I need to turn it off.
You definitely do, mate. I'd suspect you're the kind of guy that's probably got aircon.
Only out in the garden.
No aircon inside. I'm surprised. I thought you'd have a
No,
massive.
I don't have aircon. I've just got underfloor heating.
I thought you'd have a massive aircon unit as well.
I'll
Disappointed.
get rid of this gum. It's very rude of me doing this.
It's all right.
Gumming.
I was thinking before we talk about the boxing, we ain't done the fans' questions for a while. So
Oh, we haven't done for a few now.
yeah, so we not had the chance to bump into you, so I'll run with some now.
As
Some
I've got my grandson's globe with me, we got one from Venezuela.
Oh wow, no, it doesn't. No, um, I'll chuck in some questions for you, Gareth. The fans want to know. Oh, I think they're just taking the piss. Um, so
For
this,
a change.
yep. So this one's saying Andy McNabb is saying Gareth is the type of guy that wears Fury's under trolleys after he's trained in them.
Correct.
I bet they're worth a lot of money as well. Sell them.
No, I just put them in a big frame and auction them away at Sotheby's when he's no longer around in the boxing world. No, Andy McNabb. It's a good name because he's written. I've read most of his books. Andy McNabb is the pen name of a former SAS soldier who's written, I reckon probably 20 plus books on serving in the SAS and the Secret Air Service. Very, very interesting books. Fiction.
Well, I suspect it's not the same person.
You never know. You never know these days. Andy McNabb might be a huge boxing fan, but he's probably too busy penning his next novella.
Yeah.
So no, I would think that I reckon Tyson Fury's underpants would probably not bring very much in auction. Maybe his shorts or his boots or his gloves, but
Okay.
that's a below the belt question as usual from Mr. McNabb.
It is. So MJat is saying Gareth loves a bit of gardening. Please ask him what his favorite leaf is.
It's a laurel, actually. I've got an awful lot of laurel. I planted some laurel trees, laurel bushes in my garden a long time ago. I've got two massive hedges of it. I've got two rows, which form a kind of secret garden area. And also, I've got two huge circular masses of laurel that are 2 stories high, believe it or not.
Okay.
Love it. It is my favorite plant. But in terms of flowers, I love a lily.
Okay. John Calendar is saying Gareth looks like a standard of chap who has a housekeeper, a gardener, and a photocopier repairman.
No, I don't know. I just it's a very good one because you know what happens when the bloody photocopier dies, you buy another one, and then it takes ages for it to work out. And everybody has that issue with their photocopier and their printer. That when you first get it, it just doesn't, it's got a life of its own until it decides it marries up with your laptops and your phone. And so no, I don't have I binned mine. But I did, but without getting too far in the weeds here, it's really boring getting your washing machine and your dishwasher fixed. My word. You had that recently?
No. So the
Well,
last
have you got a preferred make?
Samsung.
I'm going Mealy.
Okay, I've not heard of Mealy. Last one for you, Gareth. I'm going to save the best one till last. Gareth A. Davis is the type of person to carry a lighter around with him just in case someone who smokes doesn't have one, so he can jump in and say, I have one.
I know that story. And it's supposed to be you keep a lighter for when a girl needs a light. So few people smoke these days, but as you know, I'm a vapor.
Yeah, that just made me laugh. It was quite funny.
And no, but I don't. I don't jump in.
Okay, right. So at
I
least
don't jump in. I don't. I've only got a lighter for lighting my oud and my burners, my charcoal burners for my oud.
You bought some wood from Saudi?
Mm.
Good stuff. Right, let's jump into the boxing, Gareth.
Yeah, let's get on it. Let's get on it.
So
Let's do some fight talk, baby.
we'll talk about the biggest topic of the weekend was this whole thing with the Kane Baker versus Akib Fiaz fight. It was a rematch. They fought a few years ago, and Akib Fiaz, I believe, won quite. I think it was not a majority, it was a unanimous decision victory last time. And from my understanding, Eddie Hearn pulled the fight on the Saturday because, in his words, he was notified of some irregular betting activity around the fight. He didn't say on who or what or anything like that, so we don't know who's better on who.
Yeah.
We didn't hear nothing from either fighter up until I think it was yesterday. Kane Baker put quite a long spiel out on Instagram, but in
Mm.
short, I think he was basically referring to Steve Woods, basically suggesting that somebody from Akid Fiaz's team has put money on him and tried to get him to take a dive. That's his words. That's what he said on his post. That's the short version of what he said. And he said there was no bets from my people or my team, and the investigation is ongoing, etc., etc. And that's it, really. We've not heard nothing from Akib's team as of yet, but that's all we know. What do you make
Yeah,
of it?
and well, I've got his statement here, Boxing Key Media, and he says that he wants to state, I think it's on his Instagram, that after there was irregular betting, he wants to let people know that there's been no illegal bets made from me, my team, or anyone I know. I would never be bribed into losing a fight, and I've never placed a bet for myself to lose in my whole career, and I believe my fights and records show this. I'm happy for the investigations to go ahead on myself, my family, and anyone else. Um, Also, any fight I've lost to also be checked. I can 100% confirm that the only bets placed on me would have been for me to win. I will update with further evidence in due course. Now, I know Kane, as you do, and Kane is a fascinating person, a very deep man who's been through an awful lot in his life. And I want to put hand on heart and say, I can't imagine Kane would ever be involved in that. And I think because there is an investigation into this, the rudiments of what I know is that it came to light because he'd heard about it from Fiaz, his opponent, and or a member of the family had heard about it, and trainers had been informed. Then Eddie Hearn was informed, and he pulled the fight. There's a quote from Kane. He's The fight is a quote from him in World Boxing News. Phil DJs, who's very, very good. If I were betting against myself, surely I would have gone ahead with the fight, but I wouldn't have allowed a family member to contact the opposition to stop a fight. There were no bets. Sorry, there's a quote here that. So tell the truth. The fight only got pulled when my family member got in contact with the coach to stop the fight. Now, we believe that's Jamie Moore. We don't know yet. So what we suspect is that Jamie Moore then went to Eddie Hearn and told, I think this is right. And
Yeah.
then obviously there's going to be an investigation into it. As far as I can see it, this is not the fault of either boxer. In fact, they've acted in the right way. Neither man would have not wanted to fight. Would have wanted to fight. Neither man would have not wanted to fight and pull out. And it's very unfortunate. Betting on boxing is a weird business as well because so many things can happen. I remember back in 2020 there were investigations pulled onto a fight between Dave Allen and Dorian Darch in 2020 when Dave the fight started slowly and Dave hurt Darch with a left hook, I think it was, and Darch went down and the fight ended in the third, and there were quite a lot of bets on the third round from memory. But there was certainly mention of irregular betting on that fight at the time, and it was investigated. I don't think it ever came to light that what happened in that. I think it fizzled out. And I think at the time, Dave Allen was very open and transparent about talking about it, saying it's absolute nonsense. And Dorian Dart said, do you really think that I'm going to get myself battered by Dave Allen? And so they both denied it. I don't think it went any further. But I think it's good that it's come to light, and it's good because it would have been a worse story. I mean, what we understand from this situation at the moment is one person is being asked to take a dive. Is that really? And like they've been approached to say, will you do that? And I think that's what will come out eventually. And it's just ridiculous, frankly. You cannot have people influencing the actions of a fighter in the ring to make them bring about an outcome for people to make money on, which is fixed. It's fixed boxing. We can't allow that. We can't allow bribery in sport.
The way it sounds like neither fighter's at fault from looking at the limited information we've got. It just looks like people around them, somebody's done something, but hopefully the boxing board can get hold of that person and put it to bed. The card, there were some great fights. It was really good, you know, as well as Eddie Hearn and Ben Shalom coming together, shaking hands. In the midst of that, there were some amazing fights. It was a really good card from top to bottom. So, you know, rather than going through everything, because we'll be here for an hour, I want you to pick out the best fight and the best fighter on the night that stood out to you the most.
Well, I think Lewis Crocker looks more and more impressive. I thought his performance was good. As a terrific fight.
Did he deserve to win? Because there was some controversy about the decisions.
Well, it was a unanimous, wasn't it? It was a unanimous decision. It was a close fight.
No, Crocker was a split. It was a split.
It was a split decision. Sorry, it was a split decision. But I thought probably what swung it was that there was a point deduction against Walker from memory, I think.
Yes, it was.
There was a point deduction, and I think I'm just looking at the.
Yeah, it was. There was a point deduction.
Yeah, and I think that swayed the fight a little bit. Well, what I was also looking at afterwards was that looking at the welterweight rankings, and Lewis is 15 now with the WBA, and 12 with the WBO. He probably deserves to be in that mix now. I mean, he's looked very, very good. I was looking back at his record actually before we came on. You know, the win against Tyron McKenna, the fight with Jose Felix Jr., where he looked impressive. He looked good. I think he looked good again on Saturday night. It was, as you say, it was a really good fight. Split decision, sorry, not unanimous. 20 wins now, 11 by knockout. He can box, he can fight. He's very strong in there. He's a big welterweight. And I think Paddy Donovan is probably there next for him. That's a really good fight. They can do it in Ireland if they want to, do it in Belfast. I think it's terrific. I'm picking him out because he's still unbeaten. 27 now. I just think he looks strong as well. He's looked very strong at 147 pounds. And he's one of those guys that's crept through, as has Tyler Denny. I thought Felix Cash looked like he'd been out of the ring since December 2022. Couldn't find his timing and his rhythm. He looked very off colour in the fight. Had a little bit of success, but he fought completely the wrong fight against Tyler, and you know, it was a roughhouse brawl in lots of ways. Obviously, that clash of heads caused the fight to go to the cards.
I think it's debatable. Some people are saying it was the left cross when they were in the clinch that did it. So I don't know. I don't know if you know for a fact whether it was a clash or a punch.
Well, it had to be stopped on the advice of the ringside physician.
The right man won.
Oh, no question. But I just thought Felix looked off colour. And I thought he fought the wrong fight. He should have stayed behind his jab. And I think, as his team said afterwards, as Tyler Denny and Ben Shalom said afterwards, they thought they were going to have to go late in this fight, and he'd come stronger later. But he got handed opportunities early on the inside. It was a very good fight. It was a very strong fight from Tyler Denny. He imposed himself. And he's got better and better. Again, you look at, I was looking at Tyler's record. You wonder what they do with him, you know?
Himself in a really good position. What about the young guns on the card? There were a lot of young fighters, matchroom prospects. I'll name three. Trying to think now. So you had Cameron Vong, Hamza Uddin, and Ibrahim Sullivan, who's not officially a matchroom fighter, but he's fought most of his career on their shows. Which one of them three stood out to you the most?
Well, you and I have spoken about this guy before. They all did well on the night, but Hamza Uddin is very eye-catching. Um, I love the way he finds openings. I think he's a very thrilling prospect. I mean, I'm saying from this standpoint, I think he can go a really long way. He's obviously very young in his career. I mean, you highlighted him to me, I think, over a year ago
Yeah, but before he turned pro.
before he turned pro. Said, please watch out for this guy. I know about him. You've been in the gym with him. You know his story, and you know that he's got special qualities. And I think he's starting to show them. So yeah, Hamza Uddin definitely one to watch out for. You'll probably be managing him next.
No, mate, staying away from the management side of things. Uh,
Uh,
Content creating is just the way to go. And then the last thing, Gareth, we're literally like, I don't know, 24, 48 hours away. There's no fat announcements yet. Normally things leak out. Benson's normally dropping tweets saying, oh, it's official or it's signed. But we've heard nothing. I spoke to KD the other day and he didn't give anything away. He just said we're keeping our options open. The IBF belt being on the line was like a big sticking point for Dubois. I'm on about AJ Dubois, by the way. And then obviously Zhang, Parker's in the mix. So what do you think is going to happen? I think is a presser tomorrow, Wednesday. I think
yeah,
scheduled.
it's going to be Anthony Joshua against Zhile Zhang, isn't it? We all know that.
Or is that a bombshell, or you smirking?
No, well, it's either going to be Zhile Zhang, it's going to be Joseph Parker, or it's going to be Daniel Dubois.
We know that, but who do you think it's going to be?
Who do I think? I think it'll be Daniel Dubois, but I don't actually know if I'm honest.
Okay.
Um, I do know that there's some really good fights on the card. I think I've read somewhere that Willie Hutchinson, I definitely read that Willie Hutchinson and Joshua Buatsi's been signed. Maybe that's on the card potentially. Who
And
knows?
that seems pretty obvious. It's on that card, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Who'd you favor in that fight? Because maybe a year ago, people probably wouldn't have given Willie a chance, but after his last performance, he's right in there.
No, I'm going to favour Joshua Buatsi in that fight. I think he's got gears. I think he's got gears that he can rely on. Gears that I don't think Craig Richards could rely on in the same way against Willie Hutchinson. Um, but Willie Hutchinson may prove us wrong again. I mean, I want to see the guys around each other. I want to see Willie's mood. I want to see Joshua Buatsi next to him. I want to kind of feel the fight a little bit. But at this moment in time, I'd probably pick Joshua Buatsi to win it. I hope Hamza Shiraz is on the card as well. Who knows what's happened to that fight with him and Chris Eubank? We don't know yet.
If that doesn't happen, I'd love to see Tyler Denny get a big chance at Wembley against Hamza Shiraz. I think that he deserves that after what he's done. I think he's took 6 O's. I was looking at his record the other day. He's beat six undefeated good fighters. And for the European belt, if Hamza can't get a world title shot, I think it makes sense, doesn't it?
Are you throwing that out there, or are
Putting it
you?
in there, I think it's a really good fight.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no to that. I would not say no to that. Yeah, I think it's a really good shout. But my understanding is if they, they've been talking to Chris Eubank. That's an open secret. But then I'm just looking at the world rankings again here. If I could pick someone, I think Hamza's number one with the WBC. Eubank's 3, of course. Liam Smith is 6. I think it needs to be an all British fight. Tyler Denny's 14 with the WBC. Hamza is number 1 to face Carlos Adames. That'd be great. Yanibek Alim Kanuli's got a fight coming up I think in the.
Forgot about Carlos Adames, to be fair. If they can make that, because I know
That's
you're what
brilliant.
you
Yeah,
put on the Javante Davis card, didn't he?
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure they did.
yeah,
I'm sure they
yeah.
can, if they can convince him, what
There's enough time. There's enough time. So I think, um, yeah, that's possible.
yeah.
Obviously, Alan Canuli holds two of the belts. Hamza's four, IBF and WBO. Hamza is 4-1. I mean, they could wait on his next fight. I've got it here in front of me. I was looking at it before we came on, actually. Sorry, I'm a bit underprepared today. I've had a day off, been on the sea. There we go. He's July the 13th. Andrei Mikhailovich, that's right. At the Palms Casino Resort, Las Vegas. And I think he's a Bob Arum fighter, isn't he? So I think July, August, September, maybe not enough time. Maybe
Look,
not enough
the
time.
right money, anyone can get prepared.
Yeah, and as we know, as you rightly say, there is potentially a lot of money here because it's backed by the Riyadh season, outside the Riyadh season. I don't want to speculate too much because they're going to break it all
Yeah.
down for us on Wednesday. We'll all be there on Wednesday afternoon.
Yep. Looking forward to it, Gareth.
Yeah.
So that's it really.
Final thing,
Yes, go on.
like the confidence of Tyson Fury analysing his fight with Alexander Usyk. I don't necessarily agree with it all, but I like his confidence because, as I said to you on the morning of the night after, or as the night went into the morning and we sat in the Hilton having breakfast at 8 a.m. and we eventually got to bed about 10 a.m. There was enough in those first 6 or 7 rounds for Tyson Fury to take an awful lot out of it. And that's what he was talking about.
Do you agree with his analogy that you only gave Usyk 4 rounds?
No. Of course I don't, because I gave Usyk round 1, I think round 7.
People can watch that interview back with you. I think you gave like a full breakdown of what rounds. But what do you think?
I certainly scored at 114, 113 to Usyk anyway, quite clearly.
The argument Tyson has, I think he said he said it himself, which a lot of people have kind of said about the fact that he's kind of switched off and he was being overconfident, etc.
No, he was. He threw it away in some ways. You can analyse it that he threw it away, but you can also say that Usyk came back in the fight and took over.
I was going to say, is that taking it away from Usyk when people have that?
No, it's not, because he's fully entitled to see it that way. And in a way, that's what I'm saying. He needs to see it that way. And you need to feel like that and know that you're going back in with things you could do better and things that you didn't do that you've got to do this time. So I liked his confidence about it. I don't agree that I don't think Usyk looked like an amateur boxer, but that's Tyson Fury on how he felt about the fights. You can't take away his view or opinion. We want a strong, confident, and powerfully believing Tyson Fury in the second fight, because it's going to be an almighty ding dong again, and they will probably leave it all in there. He's taken something from the fractured orbital socket and the fractured jaw of Usyk. Knows he can hurt him. He's going to have to hurt him a bit more this time and keep it on him. But he did get comfortable in there. He got greedy. And we talked about that afterwards. We talked about all these things. But as I said to you at the time, and I remember how you headlined it, I cannot make a case for Tyson Fury winning the fight. And I couldn't. That's how I scored it. I watched every second of that fight live, and I maintained what I saw. And I think you've got to stick with what you see. Unless you watched it again, you think you're irrevocably wrong or irrevocably wrong, but I'm not going to revoke how I saw it, but I'm really looking forward to number 2.
Yep, I think the whole world is, Gareth. So yeah, I think fans will respect the fact that everyone knows you've got a good relationship with the Furies, the fact that you didn't let that cloud your judgment and you gave.
No, I'd love him to win in December, Boxing King Media. I would love to see the Anthony Joshua fight. I'd love to see the Anthony Joshua fight next year if Fury regains the belts. I mean, or even takes the victory, and it doesn't matter if there's any belts on the line for their second fight. Frankly, that's just the championship of each other now, isn't it?
It is. Well, let's see. I think in about 48 hours, the whole boxing world's going to get turned upside down again, and in a good way.
Yeah.
We'll be there to see it. Gareth, I appreciate your time as always, and I'll see you soon.